Welcome guys, today I'm going to go through some tile trim tips as I tile this hexagon niche here. Also, what you see in this video can be used for trimming around windows. So first up, if you want your bathroom to look the part and you're using tile trim and not mitering the tiles, it's good practice to match your tile trim with your fixings and make a feature piece out of the tile trim. Like here, I have some different colours of metal tile trims that I'm matching up with the shower head in this bathroom, as this is the same colour as all of the fixings. Tile trims come in various sizes. They are generally plastic or metal. Metal, in my opinion, being the better option as of the quality. It's good to match them with the thickness of your tile. So these trims here are 10mm, the same thickness as these hexagon tiles. The two trims I think will match best here are the brushed brass and the brushed nickel. And after trying them both, I go for the nickel, as I think it's a bit more subtle and the closest match to the shower head. Now you can obviously match your trim to your tile grout or the tile itself for a more subtle look, but matching trim like this makes it stand out and you'll use it more as a feature. Okay, so on this one I've now tiled the back of the niche and I'm now ready to do my trim work. For those of you who regularly watch my channel, you know I always like to reverse the tile trim so you see the thin edge face on. This requires you to overlap all the tiles by a tile's thickness around your niche or window. I hope you agree it looks a lot nicer with the trim like this as opposed to a fat piece of trim going around it like this. Just again looks a lot more the designer finish. With this one it wasn't possible with how the niche works out with the tiles. Even after some alterations I couldn't lower it anymore to work with the tiles and the trim. So today I use a standard way of fitting the trim. In my personal opinion, if you can get the trim with the thin side facing, that is the best look. I'll leave a link in the description to a video explaining about that. So I'd always suggest to trim and tile the sides first, then the top followed by the bottom. This is because if you don't do your bottom last, your side cuts will put weight on it and sometimes push it down. Also, you won't get it covered in adhesive if you do your bottom last. To mark the sides, simply measure them from top to bottom. If your niche or window is square, these will be the same measurement. I won't be mitering this one today for two reasons really. One, it's something we used to do a lot years ago. And secondly, if you are mitering trim, you need to make sure your tiles are flat and level all the way around. Otherwise, you'll get a horrible mitre marination. With these hexagons, they are a bit in and out and not totally flat. So for me, it's more important to get the corners and edges aligned and smooth. So with this one, I'll have to manipulate the trim a bit with wedges and tape to get it all good as I go. So mitres for me here won't be an option. But if you are doing mitres on yours, you'd mark the trim size exactly the same as you see here. Then you'd just cut 45-degree angles on your trims so they line up. So now we've got our measurements. I simply mark the tile trim and put a cross on the bit that I want so I know to keep that edge good. For cutting, I use a metal disc on my Bosch angle grinder here. It cuts through very easily. Just make sure you hold your trim down tight so it doesn't kick back. If you're cutting on the floor, put something under it, then just simply cut through your mark. With metal tile trim, I like to take an old rubbing block and smooth up the edges so there is no sharp edges left. Once they're cut, it's good to check they fit, then you're ready to spread your sides. For me here, I have just one piece of tile to fit, but every bathroom is different and you may have multiple cuts following your tile lines, but it's all the same process. I spread the sides with a notch trowel, then using my sponge I clean the edge. This keeps the trim clean once pushed in. And you'll thank me when grouting to not have to knife out the adhesive from the joint. Then just align and push the trim into place, and then I just repeat the same on the other side. Now using your tape, you can mark the cuts to go in. I always allow a few millimeters of play and mark the top and bottom in case it's not square. Then once you've got your cuts, you can spread or back butter the back of the tile and push into place. I use my little square here to make sure they are straight and square, and use tile wedges to get the trim and tile where I need it to look good and feel good. Again, I'm making sure the top and bottom corners are not sticking out so you don't catch your hands and obviously so it looks neat. Once I'm happy it's all nice and straight, I'll mark the top and bottom trims like we did with the sides from point to point and then cut them off. For me, I've got some spotlights to cut out here in my top cut, so I'll just tape my trim temporarily into place so I can get some marks for the tile size and light holes. Once I cut the tile to size, I mark the centres of the 3 lights so I can make 3 crosses on my tiles. Then using my hole cutter and lining up the cross, I can mark and then cut out the holes. Then again, I'll spread the top, load up the tile and push into place. Once I've given it a clean, I will try and marinate all the edges of the trim so they are smooth. I mark my bottom piece of the niche and then I just fix it into place the same as before. This one has a slight slope on it to allow water back into the bath. Now this is where I spend a good bit of time playing around with the trim, using wedges and tape to get it all to sit as neat as I can. Then once I'm happy, I'll leave it to dry. Then the next day we have something like this, a nice finish, and that trim really adds a nice feature around the niche. The other tile trims here are fixed in the exact same way and they just really add to the finish of this designer bathroom. And like I said before, trims come in a range of colours and sizes to suit your needs, and you can really use them to give that extra bit of detail in your bathroom. I hope you picked up some tips and tricks there, guys, and you can take that into your own projects. If you want to see some more from this bathroom, I have a video right here on tiling the hexagon floor. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.